Welcome to another Roll for Crit podcast. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler.
Always good to introduce ourselves. You
Always good.
Are here for board game news and more. However, this past week was in fact E3, the big video game convention over in California.
Yes, and while we both got excited for many video game announcements, there were some things that were actually board game related.
Sort of.
We're trying to attach.
Still video game related, but it is big in board game news. So one of the ones that we've talked about a few times on this show already is Sword Coast Legends, the D&D game coming out that is actually, we got some more info on the campaign mode.
Ooh.
So this is the game where it's based on Dungeons & Dragons. There's a co-op campaign and a mode where one person is the dungeon master. So they can actually create stuff.
Yes, and we talked how that sounds really cool to do.
Yes. So when I just said campaign mode, that was actually wrong. Campaign mode is separate from dungeon master mode, but it's a campaign. You understand.
Yes.
And the impressions have been very positive that I saw. So I'm very excited. Apparently the amount of depth you can go into is actually pretty deep when you're creating your own. You can actually customize the characters, what their dialogue is. You can trigger like a certain item if they get will open a new world or a door, whatever you want. Supposedly it is very, very customizable for the dungeon master, not just a layout, it's cookie cutter layout.
I'm gonna admit I would be extremely disappointed because I mean, first of all, you expect it from Dungeons & Dragons, but I mean, I don't know if we talked about this first time. I played, I know you played as well, Age of Mythology.
Right.
And that had a level creator, and that let you did a lot just from that. Mm-hmm. And that was how many years ago?
Yeah, it was like 99 or something.
Yeah, I feel it's like almost I expect them to do, I mean, but that sounds like a bit more than I was doing. But I mean, I feel like there's already a lot you could do without doing too much.
That's true. No,
hearing this is like, okay, at least they know the expectations.
Yeah, so I'm like, originally I was kind of like, that's a cool idea, but I didn't, a licensed game based on D&D, I didn't expect too much out of it, but sounds like it's really cool. People are digging it.
I definitely feel in general with Dungeons & Dragons, and probably said this last time we talked about it, they're trying to step up their game with it. They're not trying to make it just dice roll numbers
overall
inside a dark, dank basement.
As a franchise, they want to reach people.
And I think so far, I think they're doing it in stride. They're doing everything right. Like we know there's a movie in the works and stuff. They're making the game with full customizability. I mean, the books themselves have added a lot more in-depth and rewarding to more playing, which to me is, I think, the favorite part about it. It's not fighting dragons. It's being like, grabbing goblin, like, tell us what you know. Like being a character and just being, and without excluding other groups. Right. I think is a big thing, which I know actually The Witcher's gone in big trouble with, but we won't talk about that.
We won't get into that. It's not a board game. Is there a Witcher role-playing game? A D&D, basically.
I know we know there's a board game, but I don't know if there's a...
Oh, that's right. It's a Witcher board game. So that's close enough. Anyway, Sword Coast Legends comes out in September, so we don't have to wait too much longer. We'll find out how it is for ourselves. There was also, of course, we're big Nintendo fans.
And nothing excited Jonathan more than the Amiibo Festival with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they have a new Animal Crossing game for the Wii U that...
Isn't Animal Crossing.
No, well, supposedly there's more than one mode that we don't know about. The one they showed off was a board game style game like Mario Party, only it looked way worse.
So this is the third, I would call it, like board game, video game on Nintendo. We've seen Mario Party, we've seen the board in Smash Brothers.
You're forgetting Wii Party U.
That's
true.
So
there's that. Yeah, there's no shortage of these games.
But how have you felt they've hit these games?
I don't think it's most board game style games that are Mario Party knockoffs aren't good. No, all the ones I own all those games, so they're okay.
What I've seen, with the exception of one, is usually when there's a board in a video game. A lot of times it's done. It's almost a lot like Monopoly, and it's done even like you even said so when you were watching the Treehouse. Like I said. My daughter loves Animal Crossing, and because it's meant to a much younger audience.
Yeah,
the only exception to this I can think of is Dokapon Kingdom, and that's more like D&D. That's the
exception because it's actually good.
It's complicated. It's much more complicated, which I think in some sense makes it good.
In a way, yeah. But Mario Party itself, it's not a bad idea. It's just lately you need to just need to have good friends to play with. It's the game itself isn't that exciting.
Right.
So that's. Oh, also another small E3 thing. You know the game Hitman Go,
Oh yeah, and
the
there's
phone game. Yeah, now they announced Tomb Raider Go,
I saw
Lara
that.
Croft Go. It's not. They're like turn-based. They're board game-esque. A lot of times they get talked about. So there's.
I never played. Did you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so
But they're kind of cool. The art
but,
style's.
I mean, there's
cool.
plenty more E3 things, but you won't be hearing about here. But you should check it out.
Yes.
Because I mean, we had our own favorites. You know, Fallout 4, of course, and I forget. I just brain it.
Oh, Last Guardian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff. There's other board game conventions though coming up, including Gen Con.
Which we'll be at.
Board Game Geek just put up their official preview, which is their big list of all the games that are going to be debuting there, or going to be sold there.
At Gen Con or at Board Game Geek Con?
Gen Con.
Oh, Gen Con.
Yeah, at Gen Con. We are not going to talk about that today. Probably a week or two before, we'll give you our big preview episode,
Right.
all about Gen Con, which will be a doozy.
But we'll have a link.
Just so you know, yeah, you can start checking it out. So that's cool. It's definitely soon. It's
Yeah.
happening. Get out your stuff. There was one game, so I want to talk about this. I thought it was interesting. They showed it off at Origins the other week. Star Trek 5-Year Mission.
I heard the title, but I haven't heard anything about it.
I want you to look at the art and tell me what you think. It's a game. It's a co-op
right.
game.
I'm seeing a white screen. Oh no, that's not a screen anymore.
And we'll put up the pictures on the screen so you can see what he's looking at.
So I'm seeing like sort of old style like frames from the show.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. It's very. It's based on, as you can tell from the name, 5-Year Mission, the original show. You can play as Next Generation characters at least. I'm not sure what other series they have in there. But what I think is cool about it is, to my knowledge, it's the first Star Trek game that is a cooperative game where you're actually playing as like
The people on the ship.
team of a crew of the ship working together to complete
Board
missions.
game. We're not counting RPG.
Right, or video games or whatever.
Yeah. I do find interesting because usually when I see frames of TV show, it's usually very lazy.
Yeah.
In this, at least in my head, the way I'm looking at it, it makes me actually think like I'm getting it out of an old Star Wars tin lunchbox. Like
Right.
Like it fits in my head. I don't know why. Like
Yeah.
even the ones from the Next Generation feel like the old ones a little bit.
It looks vintage. Kind
Yes.
Of thing. Yeah. It's like you found it at an antique store or something.
Which is cool because I mean, the show. When did it first air?
The
Original.
show, 60s, 65.
Yeah, like I mean.
yeah, it's
makes
vintage.
yeah, it makes sense for it. I hope if it came in a little lunchbox, then that'd be great.
But I'm sure you can make it customizable.
No, I mean this is really cool. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm in the middle of Next Generation watching slowly,
yeah.
so.
Well, we'll have to see how it
Plays, that's true.
It's something. There's like dice rolls involved, and you're taking on different missions. I don't know. We'll see.
I am shocked to think about because I feel like the idea of Star Trek in my head is
Right.
all about. Then again, you know what I think of like Space Cadets. I feel like that is getting the Star like games like that or Space Alert are getting sort of the Star Trek feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe it's already covered. I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean you should do it with the Star Trek universe, even if it's a reskin.
AEG announced a new game as well last week called Dice City. It's got dice in it. What can I say?
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, I think there's also a city as well. They call it a dice crafting game.
This is actually something I've been seeing a bit more.
Oh yeah.
Well, because I remember there's a Kickstarter, I even brought it up a while back, of when you rolled and you craft your sort of Cthulhian monster from dice parts. Mm-hmm. And recently, it's not out yet, but I'm blanking on his name right now. I feel terrible, but the maker of Cthulhu Wars.
Sandy Peterson.
Sandy Peterson, thank you. I was like, I know there's a Pete somewhere in there. Sandy Peterson is going to start a new Kickstarter game in which there's same kind of idea, but it's different monster parts. There's like I think a werewolf die and like a vampire die. Like, so you craft like a weird. It's like called like a Frankenstein kind of monster out of different monsters.
It's not Dysonstein, is it?
I think that's the one. Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah.
And then there, and of course, it's stuff like Dice Masters. Yeah, it seems like people are trying to like find new way. And that Portal game that was announced too with the pirate theme, different things to do with dice. It's like kind of it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
But do you know anything else about this?
Well, I just noticed for the first time it's also Artipia Games who do Among the Stars. It's also so I think AEG maybe is just publishing it and they did the design, which is pretty cool. Yeah, but it's like you're like creating a city with your dice and like each die face represents part of your city or something. I don't know.
So Suburbia Dice.
Yeah, Suburbia Dice. And other new stuff, they announced the new Game of Thrones pack.
And we're supposed to get the new base game soon,
That's-
which we talked about.
Right, that's what's exciting. This is the first official one announced for the new
Will
edition.
it come out with the new edition, or
No, I'm pretty sure it's sometime.
so we have some time to mess around
Yeah.
with the rule. That's what I meant.
But right when it comes out, you're already behind. Yeah, but so it's called Taking the Black. It's got a crow on it. It's Game of Thrones.
I haven't watched it. I'm a terrible fan of the Game of Thrones.
Oh, if you were a real terrible fan, you would say I haven't read it.
I'm saying I haven't done either.
I didn't. I missed that part of it. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about, we talked about a little bit that's interesting. So the show Tabletop, of course, very popular. Will Wheaton, they have celebrities and a much bigger budget than we have.
Just a little bit.
But we're not bitter. Will Wheaton put out a post on his blog that apologizing because they got a lot of rules wrong on episodes they played this season. And apparently they had a producer that was part of his job was to make sure they got all the rules correct and wasn't doing his job. I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting. I mean, I know it shouldn't be a shock or a secret that we've gotten rules wrong before in our videos. Yeah. But usually our videos are more for a demonstration and to give you an idea of how it feels. Whereas I feel like Tabletop is really, because it's like celebrities, they actually want to watch how it actually plays out.
Right, and I think part of you may also be like, this is not fair, but I wanted blank to win, and you didn't use this rule. Right.
Well, also supposedly they've had it happened on every episode they did this season. I know one of the big ones I read about was on Coup, where when someone lost a character, instead of shuffling it back into the deck, they removed it from the game completely. So things like that. But yeah, I just want to bring it because it's funny because recently we played Coup, and we don't know how it happened, but we ended up with
5 assassins in the deck. So it came to a point.
There's only supposed to be 3 in the game.
So there came to a point someone said they're the assassin, and you challenged them because you're like.
Because according to my information, it was impossible for them to be an assassin.
And they flipped over.
But because the game was set up wrong, they were. So that could create for some hilarious scenarios.
And it was funny because I had the Contessa who blocked assassination. Everyone else had an assassin. So for me, I was like, I'm protected from everyone.
So yeah, it can be dangerous. It's really an interesting thing to me though that that's an important thing now, to apologize for getting the rules wrong of a board game. It seems like such a.
Well, I think first of all,
it's such a new world issue.
Well, here's the two things.
Yeah.
First, it's being recorded. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, just sitting at the table.
Sure.
Second,
He's not going to apologize for games we didn't watch.
Right. Second, this happened to every episode.
Right.
So that's a big deal, I think.
Yeah. So yeah.
And it's not the first season, it's the third.
Right.
And finally, I think you are right, though. I think some people expect, I don't know, maybe it's because they're celebrities or something, that they want to see a perfect game.
Well, I think when you're Tabletop and you have the resources they do and the audience they do, you expect a higher standard for them. And I think, credit to Will Wheaton. He understands that and he owned up to it. So what I'm trying to say is Roll for Crit is way better than that show.
No, we're not.
But that was really all the news. But I know there was 1 or 2 Kickstarters.
There are actually a lot of Kickstarters.
So yeah, this was a kind of a good week. So
I actually backed 2
Kickstarter
this week. One of them was actually a game I backed a while ago. Apex. It's a dinosaur deck building game. Really cool. He's made a new one in which it comes with you can get the new base set. It's a different box and everything, but expansions as well. So if you missed out on the first one, you can pick it up.
Is the primary function for the expansion or for the new edition?
Both.
Okay.
I would say.
It's really both. Okay.
It's for both. There's a lot of cool expansions, including one that I'm really excited is Megalodon.
Sure.
The giant shark.
Oh, okay.
These also, I don't remember if they've hit the stretch goal or not yet, but there was because there's bosses in the game, sort of like that'd be in the deck, and one of them is the toughest one, and the new one is it's the Stomping Dead.
Huh.
So it's what killed off the dinosaurs. Zombies killed off the dinosaurs.
I like it.
So
that'd be a good movie.
Because what's a board game if it doesn't have zombies?
Right,
in
of
it?
course. That means they're going to triple their goal now.
No, and it's really cool. The new box looks really nice, and because I look at mine, I'm like, I like the new box better.
Are the cards different? The art or anything?
As far as I know, the cards won't be. It'll be the same backs if you got the previous one, so you won't be because there were 2 different backs at the first
They're
one.
interchangeable.
As far as I know, the only thing that's different is there were 2 Kickstarter exclusive groups. Quetzalcoatl, which I'm ruining the name.
Quetzalcoatl?
A giant pterodactyl, and also the crocodile whose name I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Isn't Quetzalcoatl like a Mayan god?
It's named after it.
Oh, okay. They're going to be in it?
They're not.
Oh,
They were
they're
Kickstarter
not.
exclusive for the first set.
Oh.
But apparently he added more cards. It was like, remember how I talked about Evolution did a remake of cards?
Right.
He's adding more cards to the base set. So if you back the previous one, there's like like an add just version that adds more cards to balance out the game.
Huh, okay.
In addition to besides expansion packs.
Okay.
And of course you can get the base game, like I said.
What's your other one?
The other one is, I'm going to actually pull up the name because I forgot the official. It's like Scoundrel City, I believe.
Need some help
Yeah, I forgot.
lock screening?
I love the ads. I just saw the ad. I was like, ooh, Stacy's Chips.
Scoundrel Society.
Scoundrel Society. It's actually made by someone I've already backed before.
That's right.
Yeah.
Action Phase
Yep.
games.
If you don't know, they're the creators of Heroes Wanted.
Yeah.
Which is we have played.
That's when I saw it. I was like, I know who they are. I bet Willie will back this. I scrolled down. It's a backer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Heroes Wanted. We both loved. It's hilarious. They already done their expansion. And I think I'm actually supposed to be receiving. No, I'm not. I'm thinking something else.
Oh.
But that one was really.
It sounded like a concept that I would like. It's sort of I don't know if it's deduction really, but it's like secret kind of revealing stuff.
Yeah, so that was really cool. But I think you saw some other ones.
There was an expansion for a game that I backed a while ago too, 101.
Mm-hmm.
The new one is 101.1, which is it's a very small expansion. It's just 14 cards and it's just $5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a no-brainer. I like that.
Can you get the first game?
Yes, as a different tier, you can get the base as well.
That's cool because we've played I've enjoyed it. It's a very simple, fun little going back and forth with zeros and ones. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's a fast duel kind of game. There are a couple ones that I don't really know anything about, but they're worth mentioning. The new Kingdom Builder expansion, Marshlands. There is a Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition, which is Victory Point games that we've had the previous editions for sale on our site.
Correct.
And there's a game called Carson City that has a big box version. I know people have been a fan of it. We never played it, but it's a Western game, and this is the big box, comes with all kinds of stuff in it, and it's like you're trying to get the best reputation in the town, and there's duels, of course, and cowboys. And then there was another one called Foe Hunters that we were brought attention to from Spellforge Games, and I thought this was actually really cool. It's a deck building game. Fantasy setting, kind of like typical kind of theme. But what's different about it from most deck building games, first of all, you can buy one card per turn and it goes right to your hand. So you get it instantly. And the other thing is it's cooperative. So
okay.
So
that makes
right.
Sense.
So there's like a boss, I think, and everyone's like trying to take them down to defeat the game. There was something else that was cool about it. I don't remember. There's another like twist, but that was the big thing that was like, oh, that's very different. That you get the card right away. So I'm always interested to see because we talk about deck building games a lot and how a lot of them are samey, different things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll have links to I guess all of these. There's a lot of them. Yeah,
no, there's plenty. And of course, I just want to side note for I know I've already mentioned this Kickstarter before, but at the Epic card game by the same guys who do Space Alert. They just do
Star Realms.
Star Realms. Wow, Star Realms. Well, my brain is gone. But they announced they're doing now Kickstarter exclusive playmats of 2 of the artworks. They look really nice. So I mean, what's interesting is you could use them for other things because it has a counter for life and stuff, but it goes up 99. So whatever game you have, as long as you don't go over 99, which I think with the exception of the only things you can think of is Japanese CCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh or Force of Will. You have like you're in the thousands, but other than that, it's pretty.
Yeah, so check them all out. Foe Hunters, Dawn of the Zeds, Scoundrel City,
and
Apex. More. Yeah, we'll have them below. Those are all up right now. One that I kept forgetting to mention, and I'll say it now, I'm sure it's over already, was Board Games That Tell Stories, which is the...
that was a big favorite of yours.
Yeah, volume 2 of this book that Ignacy Trevicek from Portal wrote, which is a bunch of essays about designing board games. There's also guest essays from lots of other famous designers. Really cool. I don't think it's running anymore, but you can buy the first book elsewhere.
You backed the first one, but in this one you actually got the hard copy.
I did not back the first one.
Oh, I thought you backed
I was late, but I bought it digitally later on.
Oh, okay.
So now that I see both up, I went for both of them so I could have
for the nice
collection.
Hardcover.
Yeah. Cool. He signs them.
We'll show you when they arrive.
Yeah, so lots of good Kickstarter stuff.
Well, What are your thoughts on Monopoly?
Oh, like that segue there. Well, I'd have to say I'm a fan of monopolies, not a fan of the board game Monopoly.
Well, if you're new to board games, you probably still know Monopoly. If you're not, you probably know if you're not new to board games, you probably know the community's general impression of Monopoly.
It ain't the most popular.
Yeah. It's very low on Board Game Geek's rating, and I'm sure you've played it plenty of times, just hours going around the table. But recently, this is a show I've been watching a lot, YouTube channel.
It's a video from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's from it's a PBS game show from Jamin Warren. I watch a bunch of other things. He has a lot of interesting videos involving video game things, like what if Link was a girl? I mean,
That is thought provoking.
Well, no, like there's plenty of videos. I just chose to
go on.
But what he talked about recently was is Monopoly bad or replaying it wrong?
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a link to it right below.
Sure. So if you want to watch, it's 7 minutes long.
It's interesting.
You can watch it before we talk.
Well, he talks about one of the things is the game itself actually, like the origins, was a completely different game.
Mm-hmm, right.
And a lot what we know is because people changed it to fit their sort of world. It's like almost as if, as we all know, there's like Cat Monopoly, Avengers Monopoly. The Monopoly we know really is more like Protestant Monopoly. It was like to fit like the Protestants in the 1920s.
Yeah, there's a whole. He mentions a book that came out recently called The Monopolist that I think we should read.
Yeah, definitely.
Where they talks about the whole history of it and how originally it was called the Landlord's Game.
Yeah.
And it was really a satire of business, and whereas it kind of became the epitome of what it was making fun of or criticizing to begin with.
Right, and I think one of the things they brought up that's interesting is a lot of the changes we've made over the years. A lot of them are geared to adding things back into the game. Like before, a lot of things there's only like a certain amount of money in the game, no matter what. Like everyone's pretty much starting money. That's the only money that'll ever be in the game. Mm-hmm. And the places didn't have this one's always 200, this one's always 300. They'd be bidding on all of them. You just bid. Right. And hotels there were no hotels, just the buildings. So you could put a monopoly on the cheap ones, and then no one else could get buildings, and then you slowly just strangle everyone. Mm-hmm. So it becomes interesting, like free parking. I know that's the big one everyone loves, but like that adds money back into the game, and that allows people to last longer and just keep going. Mm-hmm. So what do you think of this idea of how Monopoly changed completely? Like what the original idea was, like how it was meant to actually show the evils of Monopoly.
I mean, well, yeah, I think that is fascinating, and we haven't. Although I have to say, from looking at the diagrams of Monopoly, like the original one, not diagrams, but seeing the original boards and stuff, not really knowing how it plays differently that much. I think as a concept, it's great. As a piece of art, even, it's great as a political statement. It didn't look that fun to play. I don't know how much fun it was to actually play back then, the original version. But I do think it's, like I said, it's very interesting to think about it from a political and societal perspective.
Well, I think another thing that's interesting to think about. Think of the game, and even now, think of some of the games we love. What if years from now the rules are completely different?
Sure.
Like, what if the came up we now it changes completely?
Well, even something like chess or any of those games, things change, rules change over the years. There's just natural, especially I think it's different now because we actually print rule books and there's the internet. There's a lot more records. But there was a time when it really was like usually just someone teaching you in a park or whatever how to play, and people had their own little things that would change, almost like a game of telephone where little variations take place.
Well,
I don't think we have that
at the same
anymore.
time. On the internet, a lot more things now. It's like, these are our house rules. Like you have people, and what happens is they become more people might want to use them and stuff.
That's true. I mean, isn't that what basically happened with Monopoly, where so many people did free parking that they actually put in the book, hey, maybe now you, as a variant, also do.
Or everyone just assumed it was an actual rule.
Well, yeah, that too.
Because everyone was taught that way.
I will say I wasn't 100% sold on this video. I thought it was very interesting, but. There was an article a while ago, I remember, it didn't go into the history, but it had similar things about how these are really house rules and this actually isn't in the rules of Monopoly. And do you remember we actually tried playing Monopoly that time with those rules, without those house rules. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fun. It was terrible. I didn't have fun at all. It was with the bidding and no free parking, all that stuff.
Well, no, because the bidding is different. The way we did it in Monopoly, the way we played, because they sort of went halfway with the rules. The Monopoly rules is that, let's say you land on the space that costs 200. You say, okay, I'm not buying it. Starting bidding at this. But the thing is, all those spaces never had a price to begin with. So you wouldn't think, okay, I'm bidding 200 no more than that because I'm overpaying for the spot.
So I feel like it's less of an argument of we're playing Monopoly wrong and just an argument of they changed the rules of Monopoly.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why.
I guess.
No, he doesn't literally mean you're playing it wrong.
I feel like that's the tone. I feel like it comes across as like it's our fault for doing it wrong.
Well, no, I took it as
it's Monopoly's fault or Milton Bradley's fault.
Well,
or
yeah,
it changed.
Brothers. Yeah, not you.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, that's I agree with that. But I mean, I'll be honest, even still, I mean, maybe it's just from years of conditioning now, but even hearing about whatever the original rules were, I just get bored. I'm like, I don't want to play that game. I mean, do you? When you watch that video where you're like, yeah, maybe Monopoly is a good game. Did you really think
actually,
that?
I want to see I sort of want to see all the official rule changes. I want to see what it was the very beginning, because I don't remember if you said, but like, it sounded like maybe you could go either way.
What do you mean either way?
As in, if you rolled a 6, you could go back other way.
Interesting.
Because that would change a lot too.
Yeah.
And also, the curious thing is because he mentioned how money was not supposed to influence it. I'm wondering, does Go, because collect $200? I know that for me, that was my main income usually for a lot of things. Like, because if that's not there, the game's not going to last as long. That really cuts. Because think about it. That means you're hoping for one property to just drain out.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I wouldn't.
Also, another reason, like I want to try it out with the original, but I'm not saying it's going to become my favorite, because half the reason is, do you know how many games there are now? Yeah. We live in an age where there's so many things, and I'm just talking board games. I'm not talking about
game from the 1800s.
Yeah, I'm not talking about,
but early 1900s.
TV shows, video games. It's hard to say like, oh, I want to play this game many times now. But I think it's interesting for the history of board games, because Monopoly is sort of one of the, as much as whether you hate it or love it, no matter what version, it's sort of one of the games. If someone says board game, I mean, how many times have you if you mentioned, I sell board games, people go, oh, you sell Monopoly?
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely has its place. Like I said, I want to read that book. Like, I think all the history stuff is fascinating.
That's what I think I'm really curious about. Because also the idea of why all the buildings are named, like why this one's why this one's the expensive one, this one's the cheap one.
Yeah,
like he briefly went over it, because, and I thought it was like, oh, that's why. Yeah. Which is it's cool. It's interesting to see how this game evolved, because compared to some other games like chess, hasn't really, you still pawns and stuff, I think. But this game, I mean, from the sound of it, really did evolve.
True. Sure.
Like the idea of it was sort of funny, because the idea of like I said in the beginning when we were talking about this stuff, like the Transformers Monopoly, the Catopoly, whatever. The Monopoly we know is a Monopoly clone of the original. Right. It's sort of this really funny. It's Monopoly.
Monopoly. I guess that's duopoly. Yeah, like that one? We're going to go off on that one because I can't beat that. I don't know. Yeah, do you have any other... so it's worth watching the video to see what you think. We'll have a link in the description, like we said. Let us know what you think. But did you have any other, before we close? We keep forgetting or being too busy to bring out these Munchkin comics that we want to take a look at. Maybe next week.
For one, because we only have 2, 4, and 5, if I recall correctly.
If you don't know, Munchkin, there's comics based on the game, and I picked up a few. I've been meaning to bring them on the show just to look at them and see what we think. But beyond that, because that's a tease for next week, maybe. I think we're done with the show.
And yet you wore the Munchkin shirt.
I know. I've really, really ruined everything.
But for now, check out the video and maybe the book as well, like you said, The Monopolist.
Yeah.
We'll have more, like we said, on Gen Con as we approach the date. And we'll be there, so if you're there, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. You can email us, rollforcrit@gmail.com, if you have a question or comment about anything at all, board game related. Or you can leave a comment on YouTube, or they can tweet us.
Of course, at rollforcrit and at our personal Twitters. And like you said earlier, you could subscribe to the YouTube right down there, and also game show. That'd be cool too. But let's say you actually want to buy Monopoly for whatever reason, or maybe other board games.
So you can go to our website, rollforcrit.com. We sell a bunch of whole different versions of Monopoly, if you're into that kind of thing. And some other things that we talked about today, like, Kingdom Builder.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe those other ones. Like we did, Currently, I think we're out of Apex, but we were selling that too, and hopefully
keep
we'll
checking
have
back.
the other one.
And also, I just want to say, subscribe on iTunes, Facebook, if you're not already, all that stuff. We really would appreciate that a lot. Tell your friends. We love you guys so much.
Well, I think that's it for now. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and you've been watching or listening to Roll for Crit.